Hello, beautiful people of YouTube, and welcome to What the Math. Today, we're going to be talking about all kinds of space news and space facts from the last week, specifically from December 14th to December 20th, and I had to just look this up because I forgot what day it was. Anyway, so let's start with the first thing that's going to happen actually tomorrow, I believe. It was supposed to happen today, but it's going to be happening tomorrow. SpaceX is going to be launching their awesome rocket, and they're going to try to re-land it on the platform again. So Elon Musk is trying to land his rocket on the platform, and this time this rocket is actually carrying, I believe it's 11 satellites. It has 11 satellites on board, and then it's going to try to land on the ground without smacking into it, which is pretty exciting because last time it failed, but maybe this time they'll succeed. And you can read more about this in the article in the description below, but also you'll probably get to watch this on TV. Hopefully some channels will actually show you the launch because it's pretty exciting. And speaking of launching spacecrafts into space, it's actually 50-year anniversary since the first encounter of spaceships in space, basically since the first docking. The first docking was, of course, between Gemini and Soyuz stations, and this was 50 years ago. And now we had another one just this week, where 50 years later we've advanced so much that we now have a much easier, much simplified version of the docking procedure. And of course, we have International Space Station that has quite an advanced crew quarters and science stations and so on and so forth. And you can actually watch some of the previously made time lapses where they kind of show you everything about the docking procedure and how docking happens. In the description below, I posted the link for this. This is a pretty awesome video one of the astronauts made. I believe this was last year, actually, and I believe this was Gennady Padalka, who is known as the man with the most space-time in space. And actually, the next article has him talk about his experience in space, because this week was also the first time a British astronaut, specifically a guy by the name Tim Peake, actually was the first astronaut to visit the International Space Station. And for the British, it's super exciting, but hopefully a lot more exciting than it is for me, because I haven't really heard anyone else on British television talk about it. And that's very unfortunate, because space is exciting, and unfortunately this wasn't really picked up by some of the other stations. But nevertheless, you should watch this short video. I'm posting this in the description below, where he actually talks about the exciting moments you get to experience on the approach to the orbit, and then on the descent back from the orbit. And he got to experience this 5 times, and he actually spent close to 900 days living on the International Space Station. That's a lot. That's like 3 years, close to 3 years in space. So this guy right here is basically the record holder. And speaking of International Space Station, this week they also got to watch the new Star Wars movie on their screen in the station. They were all basically orbiting around Earth while watching Star Wars, and somehow that's kind of cool. I don't know, watching Star Wars in space, that's pretty amazing. Anyway, so they got to watch it, and obviously the biggest thing this week was the fact that Star Wars has actually been released, and it was a lot more successful and actually a lot more fun than people thought it would be, even though it was made by Disney. But obviously, I'm not going to spoil anything for you, and this week is actually going to be all about Star Wars, and possibly even in the week after that, we're going to be talking about Star Wars. We're going to be, I'm going to introduce some of the awesome Star Wars games, and I'm also going to introduce a lot of the scientific things from Star Wars and talk about them using Universe Sandbox 2 and some other games as well. And if you actually want to learn more about some of these scientific concepts in Star Wars and how we've actually managed to develop some of them, read the article I posted in the description called Star Wars Tech, 8 Sci-Fi Inventions and Their Real-Life Counterparts. So it talks a little bit about things like exoplanets, hyperspace, and speeders, and so on and so forth, and of course droids. All of these things that we do see in Star Wars, a lot of them are actually reality right now, and you can actually use them in real life. And speaking of lightsabers, we've probably all seen replica lightsabers that have light coming out of them. They do the whoosh whoosh sound. There's a guy on YouTube who just posted the video recently, and I'm gonna just show you a clip of it, and you should totally take a look at the whole thing, where he essentially made a working lightsaber with actual flame that literally burns things and is essentially a working lightsaber. I thought it was pretty awesome. I was actually quite amazed by the fact that it could do this and it could actually burn and cut things. And anyway, so give this a watch. It's in the description below, and I think this is probably the first time I've seen anyone create something as awesome as this. And before we finish, I just wanted to show you this other website I found. This is from slate.com, where there is something called the Ultimate Spaceship Face-Off, a highly speculative search for the fastest ship in science fiction. Now, this is actually kind of a mini-game / simulation where you have these famous spaceships from various stories. So there's Enterprise from Star Trek, Millennium Falcon from Star Wars, TARDIS from Doctor Who, Heart of Gold from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Planet Express from Futurama, Jupiter 2 from Lost in Space, Serenity from Firefly, and this is secretly my favorite one, Galactica from Battlestar Galactica, and Voyager 1 from NASA. This is the only real spaceship on the list. And what you can do is you can actually try to have them race each other and find out which is actually the fastest. Now, you'll be surprised. I don't want to spoil this for you. I want you to give this a try yourself. You can have them go to Alpha Centauri, Galactic Center, about 27,000 light years away, or Andromeda Galaxy, 2.5 million light years away. And as they travel, you get to actually find out how long it will take them to reach that particular part. Now, obviously, Voyager would take forever, but some of these other spaceships, you'd be surprised how fast and how slow they are. Give this a try and try it yourself. Anyway, so this is really it for space news from last week. And so like I mentioned before, we're going to be doing a lot of different Star Wars things, but also obviously other scientific things. I'm going to talk about various scientific concepts related to both Star Wars and other space exploration. But I also wanted to mention that there has been actually quite a lot of demand for me to do another series on Planet Base, which I was surprised how popular it got. But I am working on it. It's going to take a little bit longer than I thought, because it's a little bit hard to bring back a dead crew. As if you haven't seen this yet, it's where things don't go so well. Anyway, so yes, it's coming back, and there's going to be more videos based on Planet Base, but you just have to wait a little bit before it starts coming out, because it's a little bit harder and a little bit more time consuming than you'd imagine. Anyway, so that's it for space news with What the Math, and today we're going to start our Star Wars exploration with the first video coming out, or maybe has already come out really soon. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video next week, and game you later, guys. I love you, and bye-bye.